Hi and welcome, Renan here from Ridebox. In this video we'll be talking about how to adjust our brakes. The reason we want to adjust our brakes is actually two reasons. The first one is we want to have more grip as we grab onto the handlebar. And the second is we want to have more feel when we modulate our brakes. We tried to adjust our brakes in a way that we can use it using just the index finger. So let's dive into how we adjust it. Usually when we meet people for the first time on the trail, we go over their bike setup. Now, when the bike is not set up correctly, we usually ask why and who set up the bikes. Sometimes the answer we get is that this is how they got it from the store, and they didn't touch it because they thought that this is how it's supposed to be. One mistake would be placing the brakes too close to the grips. That means that when you're holding the grip, your index finger is actually not where it's supposed to be on the brake, which usually gets people braking with two fingers or more, losing the grip they have on the handlebars. Another mistake is putting the brake lever in a too upwards position. This generates a number of problems. The first one, in order to use our brakes, we need to bend our wrist and tuck in our elbow, and only then we can reach the brake. The other problem with having the lever at that angle is that it's very inconvenient to be riding for long periods of time in that position. So people would normally just be holding the handlebars without placing their index finger on the brake. And then when they need to apply their brakes, they'll go into that inconvenient position and take a long time until they actually start applying the brakes. So, the most important thing I want you to remember about setting up your bikes is that you need to adjust the bike to fit you and not the other way around. Just like when you go in a car, you adjust the seat, the mirrors, and everything else. That way we need to adjust our bikes. Up till now we talked about the why. Now let's dive into the how. What we'll be doing now is adjust our brake levers to a good baseline. You can always make adjustments later. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to untighten the screws from both the brake levers and the shifters, or seat if you have it on the other side. Now we've untightened it just to a point where everything moves freely and we can adjust it and play with it. Now what I want to do is I want to place my hand on the handlebar just in a way that feels comfortable to me. Now that I have my hand on the handlebar, on the grip, where it's most convenient for me, I want to put out my index finger. And then I want to reach with my brake to that point. At this stage, I'm just going to tighten it again, making sure everything is not moving, but not too tight, because if you fall, you still want the lever to be able to spin around the handlebar instead of braking. Okay, now I have a good baseline to where the brake is. I have one finger at the edge of the lever. It's at a good angle and a good distance. The last thing I have left to do is to tighten the shifter. Now, as you tighten the shifter, you might find it easier if you could have switched the brakes and the shifter's position. We have a whole video talking about how to do it and why. As you finish adjusting one side, do the same on the other side, and then go for a quick and easy ride, just to check everything is working again and everything feels comfortable.